This conference
So
will now
today,
be recorded.
as you are all aware, we'll be starting with the VLSI functional verification interview preparation course. This will be an introductory session just to give a brief overview of what we are going to cover as part of this course, and the weekly schedule also will be discussing as part of this session, and as the time permits we'll be doing some questions focused on the initial aspects. It could be digital, Verilog, or SV. Okay. Let me just first walk through what all things we plan to cover as part of this course. Okay. We'll be discussing a lot of questions focused on system Verilog language constructs, even to start with some of the Verilog and digital design concepts also we'll be discussing. See, these days, uh, the interview focus has changed a bit. When I talk to some of my friends who work at senior positions in the industry, and they tell me that their focus has shifted to basics, because these days a lot of coding is done by the AI. So they are not checking the coding skills at the same level what they used to do a year or 2 years back. Mostly the focus has been on fundamentals of, I mean, how good are you with the digital design, or maybe sometimes it could be with CMOS fundamentals. So they even go to that level, even if you are an experienced engineer, even if you have 3 years or 4 years, they could always ask you questions based on some of the digital design aspects as also, because that tells them your comfort level with the basics. Okay. So considering that, we will also focus on some of the Verilog and digital design related questions. Then there will be questions on, I mean, we'll be discussing questions related to system Verilog language UVM, and we'll also focus on test bench development concepts. Okay. Test bench component development, test bench architecture related questions, the test case coding, sequence coding, and then we'll go to some tricky aspects where they may give you timing diagrams and ask you to do the coding by referring to the timing diagram. The questions based on debugging, I mean, how do you approach the debug? Maybe some questions could be related to the Verdi tool, I mean, the debug tools used in the industry. Then uh, questions related to how do you report the bugs and how do you fix those bugs, those kind of questions. Then we'll also discuss questions on how to analyze a given code, and how to find errors in the code. Okay. um, and even analyze the code and explain what the code does. Then questions based on timing diagrams. So these all things we will discuss. How these sessions help, uh, you see, during the office work, I mean, whatever projects you are working on, you are limited to a particular domain, right? You don't have that, I mean, you may not be actually using all the aspects of SVUVM in depth, because many times your work gets limited to coverage analysis or debugging of test cases kind of work. So there you tend to lose focus on the basics, and which is what is generally focused in the interviews. Interview doesn't focus on what you are only working on, they will check everything of the design verification. So the course provides a quick refresher of all these important concepts. Next. Again, even when we go to Verilog SVUVM, we'll try to cover all the major aspects of SV. I mean, though based on the importance, some topics we may give less focus, and some topics we may give a lot more focus depending upon the importance. For example, if I talk about system Verilog, we'll have to give more importance to the topics like assertions, okay, the interface, the functional coverage. Okay. These kind of topics we need to give lot of emphasis, because those kind of topics are asked more frequently in the interviews. So we'll try to do that kind of time division, where we'll give more focus and time for the important topics. Similarly, everything of UVM will be covered. Uh, Again, see, in every topic, let's say we'll discuss about the key topics of each thing, and we'll be going over the corresponding questions related to those topics. Okay. Will I mean, again, it might act like a quick refresher for you for all these topics. Next. You see, I'm trying to cover everything from basics of UVM till we do register model development, comparator, callbacks, everything. Uh, Having said this, I want to give one clarity that please don't think that we'll be redoing the entire UVM course. It's not possible. I mean, I may not be actually doing a lot of examples on each and every topic, because uh, our course intention is not to do everything practically and show, because if I have to teach everything practically here, the UVM itself will take around 7 to 8 weeks. Okay. Given that we are trying to complete this entire course in maximum 6 to 7 weeks, maximum it will go for 7 weeks. So we'll be accordingly dividing focus into each of these topics. Okay. And what will be our training approach? Every topic we are going to select few topics. For example, today we might start with some system verilog topics. Today we might start with some system verilog topics like object oriented programming, or some topics on arrays. uh, I mean, the topics in the initial part of system verilog, maybe some topics on interprocess synchronization. So those kind of topics we may take. So like that, for every week we'll be selecting few topics, and we'll be discussing the corresponding questions. We have a bank questionnaire bank, so we'll be going through those things. And these sessions are not just for interview preparation, it will help in your day-to-day work as well. Okay. Because it will help clarify a lot of concepts. Okay. And questions are divided into below categories. Theoretical questions, I mean, every topic you take will have some theoretical questions. We'll have some questions focused on problem solving or practical questions, which will divide into easy, medium, and difficult category. And we'll try to do mostly the difficult category questions during the session. Okay. And participants are provided with all set of questions before the schedule. I mean, we have one dedicated interview preparation page. I mean, we have in our InSkill portal, where you will get the login front-end interview preparation, which is nothing but the design verification interview preparation course. So this has got assignments where for every topic assignments have been put up. Okay. I'll ask our team to number these assignments because they are randomly arranged right now. So we'll do the numbering of these assignments, and we'll be giving you the schedule how these assignments need to be completed regularly. For example, here itself I have digital design related assignments. Okay, so here we have Verilog assignments. One second, I'll just okay. Yeah, so we'll be going through each of them. I mean, if I take any of the system Verilog assignment, let's say if I take uh, object oriented programming class, here it is there. Okay, if I take this assignment, so it has got initially the theoretical questions. Okay. Then we will be having some practical questions where we'll be taking some kind of simple protocol like APB Ethernet, and where we'll be making you do the things. I mean, the way in the interview, They will give you simple protocol or simple problem statement. They will ask you to code as per that. Our sessions also will go in the similar manner, where you will be doing the things, and I will be finally explaining the things all over again. Okay, so like this, for example, for this topic we have almost 33 practical questions which covers all the things. So like this, for every topic, if I randomly take system verilog data types or anything, for example static and dynamic arrays, so some questions initially which will be theoretical, then we'll have the practical questions covering all the aspects of arrays will be covered in this. Now, okay, this we have told, and we will be focusing on medium and difficult category questions during the session. Okay, so what will be the training approach? Yeah, further to it, always keep the discussion open. You can always suggest me, because some of you might be recently attending interviews, so you might have better idea about what is the kind of questions that are asked in the interviews. You can suggest us those questions. I'll definitely include those things. And some of you might be attending product company interviews, right? I mean, mostly you will either through client, either through your parent company, or directly you would be attending some product company interviews. So you can always share those questions, and we can discuss those things. That way, if we mutually discuss, we will be able to come up with even a better set of questions which will help everyone. And we'll be sharing some links. So how do you share those questions with us? So we'll be sharing this kind of link where you can post all your questions, and I will be consolidating these questions and discussing during the upcoming sessions. uh, the schedule one, the schedule right now we are following that we have done for previous batch was: day one we did constraints, randomization, constraint random verification, and directed verification. These are the topics we covered. Day two we covered, I mean, why we covered this is, and we can even discuss uh, coverage as well, functional coverage. Okay. And the day two has these topics that are being covered, mostly the arrays, the data types, the literals, system verilog specific specific questions, basic questions. The day three will be focused on operators, the object-oriented programming, the parameterized classes, the static methods and properties, the interface class. The day four will be the remaining aspects of system verilog: scope resolution operator, nested clock, class. So mostly you see we are having almost 2 days just to discuss the object-oriented programming. Day five will be focused on day five and day six will cover the remaining aspects of system verilog, that is labeling, fork join, interprocess synchronization, test bench development for any design, then interface, scheduling semantics, the program task function, system task and functions. Then day six will be on functional coverage. Though I moved it to day one, we'll adjust accordingly. The assertions, configuration libraries, everything of system verilog will be discussed here. And day seven and day eight and day nine, I mean, so remaining two, next 4 to 5 sessions will be focused on UVM, all the aspects of UVM here. And then in the last few weeks we'll be discussing the remaining topics. Again, will be having few days for dedicatedly for verilog and digital design. Verilog we will discuss for one day, uh, important questions of verilog. Then same thing for digital design, we'll pick some of the important aspects of digital design and we'll be going over those things. I mean, finally my goal is that our course should be a comprehensive one, where we try to cover all the majority aspects of front end design verification aspects. Okay. So this is what is the plan. And the final 2 days will be focusing on test bench component development, sequence coding, test case coding, implementing a code by referring to timing diagrams, how to debug, fixing the issues, analyzing a code, drawing the timing diagrams. given a protocol, how to draw the timing diagram. So those kind of questions will be focused. So this is a brief about what is the schedule. So here I have given a schedule for 7 weeks. We might even plan for 1 or 2 more weeks if required. Okay, so this is the brief about schedule. So now we'll start with the first topic that is planned for today, that is constraints and randomization. So before I go ahead, do you have any questions? Ganga, to answer your question, I may not be handling every session, okay, because each topic has an expert in the institute. For example, system Verilog I can handle, there are my other colleagues who can handle with equal comfort. So there could be some other people also handling, but they are, whoever handles, they are expert with the domain they are going to handle. Any other questions? Each session will be for around 3 to 4 hours, minimum 3 hours. It can go up to 4 hours. Uh, and yeah, as I said, most important part will be once the sessions are done, I'll be giving the questions and we'll be giving you access to this portal from where you can practice. I mean, we'll give you the assignment topics that you need to work on, so that you need to complete during that week. So one important thing I want to tell here, that this sessions will be useful only if you are able to spend sufficient amount of time outside the class hours. I mean, because if I'm teaching these questions, mostly if you see, the learning is happening for me. Though I'm teaching you, it's mostly learning is happening for me because I'm doing the things. So for you to get that practice and get better, so you have to spend that time. So my request is that during this 6 7 weeks of time, so please keep yourself available, so that you can spend more time on practicing the things. Any other questions? uh, right now, yeah, let me take one by one questions. Yeah, so what we will do is, we will try to run two batches, parallel batches, uh, full week batch and weekends only batch. Full week batch will have a schedule where we'll try to do 5 sessions per week. Around 4 sessions should be good. This will have 2 sessions per week, but longer ones, longer duration. Okay. Um, okay. The same thing schedule wise. If it is full week, 9 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. to uh, 12 or 12:30 p.m. Okay. This should again be from 9:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. kind of schedule. We'll try to follow. Okay. Let's go one by one. Okay. Schedule I have already given you. This session will be recorded, as it will be recorded, and you will get access to the recorded video for 2 weeks. Access to the videos for 2 weeks it will be provided. um, yes, I have answered this question. Do we have access to front end interview preparation module? Yes, the material access will be provided. Access to all the material will be provided, all the course materials um, provided, except videos, because videos we are providing the live session videos. Videos will be for live session batches. uh, if you are in batch 12, you can pay. There will be a fee. I mean, it will not be full fee. There will be some reduction. You can pay that reduced amount and join the course, this one, because the entire front end interview preparation is not part of the regular design verification course. So we'll let you know what is the reduced fee. You can pay accordingly and join the batch. Next, cost, our team will let you know. I think they would have published, but I can check and get back to you. I don't remember how much our team has published, because I don't want to tell some number and they telling different number. Rather, let me see what is that they have informed you. I mean, informed all the people. So the same I'll convey to you. Okay. So I hope we are all done with these basic questions related to the course structure and schedule. So now we can start off with the session. Okay, so as I said, today we'll be starting off with the first topic, that is constraints and randomization. Because a lot of times you see this is one of the important uh, focus area in the interviews. Uh, for multiple reasons, this is important for multiple reasons, because as a verification engineer, why this topic is important. Okay, you see, as a verification engineer, we spend a lot of time in developing the test cases. I mean, if a project goes for, let's say, project duration is for 6 months, almost within 1 month, the test bench, 1 month or 3 to 4 weeks, the test bench development is completed. So the remaining 5 months, okay, uh, goes into test case coding and debug and coverage closure, right? So few things you are doing: test case coding, debugging, and coverage closure. Okay, so the test case coding is nothing but it's always comes down to how do you write the constraint and randomization. If you're developing a module level verification, the test case coding always comes down to how do we write the constraints, how do we use the randomization, all those things. Debug, as I said, will take it up as a separate topic. When it comes to coverage closure, it again comes down to understanding both functional and code coverage. I mean, where you should be able to comfortably give examples specific to functional coverage, the cover groups, cover points, the different options related to the functional coverage, even the different types of code coverages like line coverage, branch coverage, expression coverage, statement coverage, FSM coverage, toggle coverage. So we'll be discussing all those aspects. So as you see, in any project, verification engineer spends a lot of time on this test case coding, so, and coverage closure. So even as part of the interviews, uh, people will focus a lot on your test case coding skills and coverage analysis skills, even assertions to a good extent. So that is what we are starting off with. So we are taking this, some of the constraints and randomization questions. We'll be discussing those things now. Again, I want to repeat here. Please do not think that I'm going to repeat all the topics of System Verilog. I mean, I'm not going to go and touch upon each and every topic. The course assumes that the course prerequisites are basically basic comfort with basic understanding of System Verilog and the UVM constructs. If you are completely new to SV and UVM, this course is not suitable for you, because we are not going to go through the constructs all over again. Our focus will be more on doing the things and understanding the uh, process of how to approach the question and those things. um, See, there could be different types of questions on constraints. Questions based on generating a specific pattern. Okay, Second could be processing. I mean, these questions could involve processing the data in post randomized function, and this could also involve implementing questions using implementing the things using implication operators with knobs on the left hand side. So what is implication operator, what is a knob, we'll discuss. Okay. So let's now go through these questions. So for every topic, we have such questionnaire prepared for each topic. So we'll be going over those things. Okay. Let's start off with some of the questions. Can someone tell me why constraints are required? As I said, right, during each session, some part of the session will focus on theoretical aspects. Later part of the session will be going through the practical aspects. I mean, where we'll be discussing the problem solving questions related to the topic. So first, let's start with these questions. Can someone tell me why the constraints are required?
We randomize the stimulus that we send.
To limit the input signals.
So basically,
to
constraints.
to set the rules to randomize it, like
Yeah. So
stimulus.
basically, constraints limit the input stimulus such so that a test case targets only the required features of the design. So constraints ensure that the input stimulus only targets the required features of the design. Otherwise, if you don't use constraint, what happens? You end up targeting all the features or all the things of design. Let's say if I have a design which has got different features, let's just take for our convenience, let's assume that these are the features for us. Okay, just a hypothetical case I'm drawing, okay, here. So if I don't use constraints and generate the stimulus randomly, this can target anything, any feature of the design. Okay. Right. So whereas by using constraint, it makes sure that my feature only targets, my test case scenario only targets this part of the design only. That way what happens is the debug becomes much easier, and we can focus on one particular feature through detailed stimulus. Okay. So that is the primary purpose of using the constraints. Okay. So the constraint makes sure that inputs are applied to the design are valid. Second thing is what? Constraints will ensure that you apply only the valid stimulus. Uh, ensure that we apply only valid stimulus to the design. Okay. What could be an example? Just a very simple example could be generating AXI transaction. Okay, you're generating AXI transaction. So we can't generate any reserved type of uh, burst or lock. So there are some reserved fields, right? So those things we cannot generate. So like that, there could be some constraints where if you do that, it will be invalid. For example, you are generating some Ethernet frame. I cannot generate a length. We can't generate a frame which is smaller than minimum packet size. The minimum packet size. So these kind of things is what we raised as the constraints. Okay, constraints make sure that we focus each test on the specific feature of the design. Okay. So that is about why we need constraints. Can someone answer the next question? Why? What is the need for randomization? Why do we need randomization? what happens if we don't do randomization? So as I said, please participate. Even if you don't tell me the 100% correct answer, that's okay.
To cover the different scenarios, corner cases, while testing the
Yeah,
DUT.
sure. So the randomization ensures that in a given test case, we are able to cover different corner cases of the uh, thing. Okay, by using randomization within the given constraints, you are able to generate different possible scenarios. So sometimes these scenarios will help end up hitting some corner case scenarios of the design. So basically, randomization helps target different use case, different values, yeah, different stimulus values in the provided constraints, which might help, which can help uh, target some of the corner case scenarios, which user may not be able to hit with direct, may not be able to hit using directed test cases, directed scenarios, directed test cases. Yeah. Let's repeat again. What randomization will do is it helps target different stimulus values. Okay, uh, different stimulus or input values in the provided constraints, which can help target some of the corner case scenarios. See, as a user, if you write directed test cases, you may not be able to focus on all those corner case scenarios. When you go with randomization, since the tool is doing randomization, since tool does randomization, uh, okay, we can achieve lot of corner case scenarios in multiple runs. We will achieve multiple different scenarios in different test runs. Next, let us understand in this context, let's understand what is a seed and how is it related to randomization. What is a seed and how is it useful and how it is used? Can someone answer? You might be using seed in every project. What is a seed?
If we want to get the same result in the every simulation,
Yeah.
if we will yes.
Okay, that is one thing. Anyone else want to answer? What is a seed and what is the advantage of seed?
So it is a combination of all the randomized variables for a particular scenario. It is useful because when we try to run a test case for like 100 different seeds, but only one seed is and that is causing some failure or bug. We want to reproduce that particular scenario. We have to use the same seed to
Okay, fine.
run that.
Sure. Thank you for that. Let me give little more clarity on what is seed. Okay. Basically, whatever tools we use, the tools we use, let it be VCS, let it be Exilium, or let it be Questa. So, okay. Have a randomization engine. Okay. This randomization engine means what? Uh, the one which generates the random values to generate random input values as per user provided constraints. See, you will be providing the constraints. Within that constraint, you want to randomize. So someone has to do that randomization. Let's say if I tell you, tell me a random number between 10 to 30. Tell me. You will tell, let's say 27. Okay, 27 is the random number. How did you tell? So who is the randomization engine in this case? Your brain is the randomization engine, which is telling that number 27. Same way, when you run the stimulus, someone is generating those random values. Who is that? That there is a randomization engine in these tools which is generating. The problem with them is these tools are not completely random. These engines are not are pseudo random. I mean, need an input point from where they start the randomization. They start their randomization. Okay. If we provide, so seed is the input. That input is called as what? This input is called as seed. So every time, what does it mean? If I start my randomization at this point, so every time if the test bench is same, I didn't do any changes to the test bench. Every time it will randomize in the same manner. Let's say tomorrow also I run same test bench with same seed. It will again run in the same pattern. It will generate same input pattern also. Okay. That is because the starting point for both the things is same. Whereas if I use a different seed, if I start at a different point, let's say somewhere here, my pattern could be different. Something like this. I'm just showing some different pattern to tell you that here you are coming generating a random value. It is resulting in some other value being generated as a random value. This is resulting some other value being generated as a random value because you are starting at a different place. So this starting place is what we are calling as the seed. So so these engines need an input point from where they start their randomization. Okay. This input is called as seed. And how do we use it? In system Verilog, let's say if you are running a Questa, you have to give VCS work.top whatever, vsim work.top plus hyphen sv seed. You give any seed value. Okay. This is in case of Questa sim. In case of VCS, can someone tell me how do we give the seed?
In command, we can pass the seed.
We can pass it as ntb random seed equal to some value. Okay, so it will read that random seed. I mean, where we have to pass to the simv, we have to pass simv, we have to pass this plus argument with the seed value passed. Now question comes, how seed is useful? Two benefits are there. What are the two benefits of seed? One is uh, helps uh, confirming if design issues are resolved, design bugs are resolved in the fixed version of the RTL. So what does it do? Seed will help confirming if the design bugs are resolved in the latest version of the RTL. In the latest version of the RTL. Okay. Second benefit of seed is it helps generate different stimulus combinations, generate different stimulus combinations in the given input range, and hence help reach different corner case scenarios. Which otherwise would have been difficult to hit by directed test cases. Let's read once. Seed helps confirm if design bugs are resolved in the latest version of the RTL. So can someone tell me what is this, what does it mean, and how it is helpful. Can someone answer this part? I mean, how do you think seed helps confirm if design bugs are resolved in the latest version of the?
For a particular seed combination, if we see a failure in the current DUT and then later we get a fix from the RTL person and we want to run with the same seed to see if the particular the issue is resolved from the RTL or not.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, exactly. So let me just open one presentation again. Instead of writing everything, I have a presentation where I have covered that particular topic. So there we can discuss that. Importance of seed in the projects. See, let's say a complex design has multiple test cases to check the different features. Okay. When a test case fails, we are running all those test cases. When one of the test case fails, uh, possible reasons for the failure are what? One is some test bench issue or some test case issue, some test bench or test case issue. So who is responsible for fixing it? Verification engineer needs to fix that issue. Then you should not be contacting the RTL team, because the issue is with your test bench or test case. You should not be contacting RTL team for this. Okay, should not contact RTL team for this, because it's a test bench issue. The second possibility is what? Some bug in the design. Okay, design engineer will review the bug and fix it. Okay, and release the updated design code in the new version of the RTL code. So once they review the issue and fix it, they will release it in the new version of the RTL code. Okay. Verification engineer, how does verification engineer confirm whether the bug has been actually fixed? Because the RTL engineer may say I have fixed it, but how do you confirm that it has actually been fixed? So verification engineer should take same test bench, say, understand, same test bench where the test case failed, and only change the RTL code. Whatever is the new version of RTL code is given, you take the same old test bench, in that you use the new version of RTL code, and then rerun the same test case with the same seed. This line is important. Everything same test bench, same test case, same seed, but you only take the new RTL code. And if the test passes, then RTL fix is working. If test fails, fix is not working. So this is the importance of the seed. So seed helps confirm if a design bug has been fixed in the latest version of the RTL code. What is the second importance of the seed? Can you tell me? What is the other importance of the seed? As we discussed, seed helps generate different stimulus combinations, because if you start with the different seed, let's say this was your focus area. Sorry, let's assume this was your focus area. Okay, in which you wanted to target only this one. Okay, so now if I generate one stimulus, one seed, it may target this portion of the design, that means this part. If I run the same thing with the different seed, it may go and target some other portion of the design, but in the same feature area. Understand, in the same feature area you are able to target. Now a different seed can target different portion again. So the point is what, eventually when you run the test case multiple times, you end up more or less reaching this one. Now comes, what if after all the runs some portion of it is still not covered? Let's say you may say this portion is not yet covered. Okay, what to do about it? Can you tell me what is that most of the people do for that? So once you hit 95% of the coverage, remaining 4 to 5% we try to target using the directed test cases. See, understand this diagram and this one, all this is only for illustration purpose. In the actual project, the way you understand the things will be little different. Okay, way you approach will be little different, but uh, this is the fundamental use of the seed. So seeds have two use cases. One is to confirm if the design bug is resolved in the latest version of RTL. A second is to generate stimulus combinations, because if you run with different seeds, it will generate different input ranges, and which will help you reach corner case scenarios, and which would have been otherwise difficult to hit by directed test cases. Next question is, how do we generate different seed every day in every test case run? How do we ensure that we generate different seed for every test run? How to ensure different seed is generated, ensure different seed is generated for used for every test run? Can someone tell me?
To randomize the seed.
Sorry?
To
Random.
randomizing the seed.
No, how will you randomize the seed? Because seed itself you are passing from the outside. See, you always pass seed as like this: vsim work.top um, hyphen sp seed equal to something. My question is, how will you randomize this number? Because you are not in the SystemVerilog code, you are in a run script. So how will you give a random number here every time? Anyone want to answer this?
In VCS, we can try NTB random seed automatic.
NTB, no, NTB random seed. Okay, yeah, that we can do. Other than that, if you are running, yeah, thank you for that. Other than that, you can also use some script. For example, we can use date. I mean, see, you will be mostly will be running some kind of a shell script, a tickle script, or Python script, right? One of these scripts to run the Python scripts to run the simulation. Okay. In that, we can use the time and date, time. This will be unique, right? Every time this is a unique number. This is a unique number at any time, for every time, right? So this can be used to generate a random seed. Generate a different seed for every run. My point is, let's say today, let's take a hypothetical. Today date is some 10th May, okay, some 2026, let's say, just randomly taking, okay, at 10 a.m, let's say. Same thing, if you run after 1 hour, it will become 11 a.m. Okay, so in that case, you are having a unique number every time, right? So using that numbering combinations, I mean, we see 10 is a number, May is a 5, right? Instead of May, let's say if I take 8th August 2026, 10, and you have minutes also using seconds. So when you use these things, you can always get a unique number. So using that, you can get a unique seed and use that. Otherwise, like one of the users suggested, if you are running with a VCS tool, you can also use plus NTB random seed. So any questions related to the seed so far? Next. When it comes to randomization, whatever we want to randomize can be divided into two categories. I mean, that for randomization purpose, all data types in SystemVerilog are divided into two categories. One is the objects, one is non-objects. Mostly we are talking about integer, bit, byte, those kind of things, right? So for objects, how do we randomize? Swami, it is possible to give in media playground also. You have to just pass that option. See, you can try it. It is possible. Uh, so in the EDA playground, see, you write any code, let's say module, top end module. Uh, Instead of, okay, let me explain here only. Here, when you run the tool, uh, let's say if I select Questa, so here there will be option. Here you can pass hyphen SVC some number. Here itself, if you run VCS, here you can give plus NTP random seed. So that is the run options. You have to give the that seed value. I hope it is clear to you, Swami. Next. So we are discussing that for randomization purpose, the data types need to be divided into two categories. Okay, one is the objects which are randomized by using the keyword method randomize, object name dot randomize. For integers, bit and bytes, all those things, how do you randomize? We use either the keyword method $random, random u random range, $u random, or $u random range. So there are different system tasks that we can use for randomization purpose. We will be discussing all those examples today. Okay. How to randomize a string? Is it possible to randomize a string? Can you tell me?
No, sir.
It is not possible. See, the string randomization does not work in a class. If I write a class, if I tell class sample end class rand string name, so the this will not take random value. This we cannot give a random value. Even if you randomize, this will not get randomized. Okay. So then the question is, how do we randomize a string? How to give a random value to a string? Is it possible to use $random? Can someone tell me? I mean, my point is, you won't be doing it. See, you won't need to randomize string anytime. But the thing is, interviews they focus on things which are sometimes not relevant, and you think they are nowhere related to work, but they end up asking such kind of crazy questions. So, idea is to just discuss those kind of crazy questions also here, because we know that a lot of things they ask, whatever they ask, we don't use them in the day-to-day work. But the point is to focus on such questions as well. Okay. Can someone tell me what is the way we can randomize?
You can append the string with some random integer value and then randomize that
But
integer.
let's say if I want string itself to be random, the text itself to be random, how can we do?
If we want a specific, if we have a specific list of strings and we want to choose from that, we can.
Yeah. So one thing I can think of is, you generate a random number. There is some methods, right, to convert real to ASCII format, R to I format. I mean, let me open once. System tasks. Yeah, here. Uh, See, we can randomize the characters. That's what. So you have to generate a random number and that you have to convert it into this one character format. Let me show once. I think somewhere in the down it will have packages. R2A, no, real to ASCII. A to real, one is A to real, I to A. I'm just thinking, will it possibly do? A to real is there. Integer to ASCII format. Let's just check once. Integer format by A to real. Okay. I to A. Means we are generating an integer that we are converting into ASCII format. Or if I tell, let's say if I write just an example,
dollar
integer.
I2.
It's not dollar. It is a method. Let's say, let's check once. Okay. Dollar display name equal to percentage D percentage S name. Okay, dollar I to A is not defined. Okay. Integer to ASCII, convert integer to ASCII. I to can I check and get back to you on this? How to use? Okay, this is a string method. Okay, this is a string method. How to use this method? Okay, name I to A. Let's call name dot I to A. Let's check once.
Yeah.
Because it's a string method.
Yeah, I to A will take input argument as
Yeah.
integer.
Okay. I think it is not doing. Basically, what it's doing is it is taking a random number, which is a integer format. It's just putting it into ASCII format. I mean, the same number, but in a string format. More instead of numeric format, it's actually a string. So this doesn't solve our purpose. So only thing I feel remaining is probably use the like someone suggested, generate a random number and use $s format f, means to randomize the string to get a random string. Use $random to generate random number and use $s format f to concatenate. Okay, let's try, like someone suggested, using static casting. Let's try once that one. Integer a equal to $random. Sorry, a equal to $random. Let's say name equal to string casted with a with string. Question is, will it support, because one is static, other is dynamic? Yeah, it is generating some random thing, but anyway, yeah, it does work, does do that. I mean, it is generating some random string here because we took the a and we have casted it into did the static casting into string format. Okay, but most of the time use case would be rather, I would say, generate a random number using $random, then use $s format f to concatenate to concatenate a string and the integer into one single thing. Any questions on this? I think same question we have already discussed. What is the significance of seed? And can someone tell me what is the use of pre-randomize and post-randomize? What is the use of pre and post-randomize? How these are related to the randomize function? You see, pre-randomize and post-randomize are the callback methods, right? These are the callback methods for randomize method. With pre-randomize, use it to change the constraint behavior or enable disable any or to set any input values, set any variable values before randomization is actually done, actually performed. Okay, basically pre-randomize, use it to change the constraint behavior or set any variable values before randomization is actually performed. We can also disable any variable randomization, disable random nature of any variable if required, or we can also set any variable values before randomization is actually performed. Why do we use post randomize? Post randomize is used to uh, generate values, uh, assign variable values based on the random numbers generated, based on the random values generated. The best example for this is, can someone tell me what is a good example for the second one, the post randomize, that is assign variable values based on the random values generated? So which is a good example for that?
To calculate checksum parity.
Yeah, for example, we want to calculate CRC. See, CRC is not completely random. It is based on the data. It is based on the data, which is generated which is generated in randomized method. So, since the data is available only after randomize, CRC can be generated in the post randomize. Okay. That is one use of post randomize. What is the other use of post randomize? Can you tell me? Other could be to store the values so that next iteration of randomization can use these stored values. I will explain. I think, see, instead of statement, if we do some examples, we will be able to understand it better. Okay, so we will do that. Okay. So that is about pre-randomize and post-randomize. And here, coming to pre-randomize, change the constraint behavior specific to the test case run. This is possible. Currently, which test case we are running, as per that test case run, we can change the constraint behavior. Next, why is it not suggested to keep all constraints in one big constraint? I mean, why do we code multiple smaller constraints? Why is it suggested to code multiple smaller constraints then rather than one big constraint? Can you tell me?
If we have one large constraint, if the constraint fails the solver, it will point to the constraint for debug. It will be tough to identify which specific thing has failed. It's more easy maintainability, readability,
Yeah, that
debug.
is one important reason. So the other thing could be
You override
having
inheritance.
multiple constraints. user can User can control the enabling and disabling of constraints using constraint mode. There is a constraint mode method is there, right? 0 or 1 to enable or disable the constraint uh, uh, as per the test case requirement. Say, having multiple constraints, user can control enabling and disabling of the constraint using constraint mode method, and that is as per the test case requirement. If you code one big constraint, you have to either enable that constraint, you have to disable that one complete constraint, right? So hence, having this smaller constraint is useful, and it also makes the things more readable in terms of what is the particular constraint is used for. Unlike one of the person suggested, debugging becomes easier when we try to solve constraint conflict failure. Next, um, let's go through the next question. What are the reasons for randomization failure, and what is the approach you will use for fixing the issue? See, randomization can be failing for multiple reasons. One is for the conflicting constraints. See, the constraints are conflicting. In that case, it will fail. Or some non-random variable is used in the constraints. Okay. One is constraints are conflicting, or some non-random variable is used in the constraint. In those cases, it will fail. Okay. So to debug this issue, every tool has some options. If you pass those particular options, if you pass those particular options, it will give you more details about why that has failed. For example, in QuestaSim tool, there will be some options like hyphen solve fail test case, hyphen solve fail debug equal to 2. It will give more details on why the conflict is coming, why the test is failing. So like that, you can find similar options in other tools as well. Have next question. Having two different constraints conflicting each other, what will happen?
The randomization is failed.
Okay. Of course, randomization will fail because there are conflicting constraints. Uh, what else I can do to make the randomization to pass without deleting any constraint? If I don't want to delete a constraint, how can I do that?
Making
Constraint
one
disabled.
constraint as soft.
Okay, one of them is make one of the constraint soft as a soft constraint, so that the soft constraint will get overridden with the other constraint. Or use constraint mode to disable one of the constraint, to disable one of the constraint. This is only for this test. Next question is where to write the constraints. Where do we generally write the constraints? Two places we use the constraints. One is in the transaction class or in the packet class. Okay. Other is in the inline constraints in generator and sequence. When you write the stimulus in generator or sequence, we do it. Okay. Any questions on this?
Inside interface also we can write constraints. No?
Sorry, please come again.
Inside interface also we can write constraints.
Inside what?
Interface.
Interface, we can write constraints. What is the use of writing constraints inside interface? Can you tell me? I mean, I don't disagree with you, but can you tell me what is the use case of that?
Not particularly, you just we can write assertions, all those things in.
1 second, let's try it once. Token following Verilog source has syntax error. So here it is telling this as a token, so it is not allowing me, right? If I, for example, if I comment it out, if I run, yeah, so the we cannot, I mean, at least as per this, we can't write constraint inside the interface. I'm not sure where you have seen that resource, but as per the simulators that we are using latest ones, there is 2025 one, it doesn't allow us to write the constraints inside the interface. Next question, let's see, what difference does it make constraining in other classes? What difference does it make? Let's see. Okay, it makes a difference. Can someone answer this question? See, constraints are for the inputs that are being generated, the design inputs that are generated. Okay, uh, that need to be driven, right? So the place where these inputs are present is the transaction class. All these inputs are present in transaction class or in the packet class. So hence that is where we want to randomize. That's where we can put the constraints. See, there's no point putting the randomized constraints in BFM, because that we will lose the whole concept of modularity. Means for writing purpose, you can write constraints in BFM also, but then we lose that modularity. So the whole idea of system Verilog based test bench is what? Keep one the driving point is don't try to randomize, don't try to constrain in BFM. Similarly, generator has a different work. So considering all that, constraints should be kept into transaction classes. But if you ask me, can't I do constraints in BFM? You can do, but as a good programming practice, it is wrong. I hope it answers your question. Any other questions? Next. What is the significance of new in RAND-C? See, what will happen if you use new with RAND-C call? What will happen if I use new during the RAND-C? Let's say you are doing a RAND-C and every time you are doing new, what will happen?
It will lose the randomization.
Basically, RAND-C behavior will not hold because cyclic randomization, RAND-C is the cyclic randomization where it will remember what is the pattern of random values it generated earlier, and using that pattern it generates the next value. But when you do new, that entire pattern is lost. So hence it will again start from the same cycle, same thing. Okay, so in this case what is happening is, uh, if you use new with RAND-C, it becomes as good as calling RAND only instead of RAND-C. Uh, See, next question is, can we write constraints inside a module? If not, why? Why can't we write? Can someone tell me, can we write constraints inside a module? It is not possible. Reason is constraints are dynamic in nature, but module is static in nature. So we cannot have dynamic elements being run as part of this one. I mean, even as a language, it doesn't support basically. Can you tell different types of constraints? What are the different types of constraints? And okay, let's do one of the questions. List down various types of constraints. Can someone tell me different types of constraints?
Conditional constraints.
Basically, the simple constraints, distribution constraints, okay, implication constraints.
Implication constraints. Equality
All-
constraints.
What else?
all
Inside
before
constraints.
Iterative, soft constraint, unique
Inside
constraint,
constraint.
Okay, uh, uniqueness constraints. Okay, uniqueness constraints. What else are there?
Inline constraint.
Inline constraints. In the
Bidirectional
implication
constraint.
itself, you can have if-else constraint also. Constraint using if-else. What else are there?
iterative
Soft
constraint,
constraints are there.
Bidirectional constraint.
Okay, bidirectional constraints. Okay,
iterative,
iterative. That is very important. Iterative constraints.
Array constraints.
Okay, mostly these are the. And next one is variable ordering constraints, where you can tell in what order randomization should be done.
Solve before.
Variable. Yeah, that is the solve before. Now we won't be able to write example for everything, but let's take 2 3 examples. Can you give me an example of distribution constraints? Example of distribution constraints. Any example of distribution constraints?
You want to
Because
randomize
why?
output.
Let's say just an example could be, we have got 3 types of Ethernet packets. Let's say our we want to drive 3 types of Ethernet packets to the design. One is small packet, one is medium packet, one is large packet. Okay, let's say small packet I want to send only with 5% small packets. Medium packets I want to send with, let's say, 30%. Remaining this I want to send with 65%. So what are the few ways I can do? One is by distribution constraints. This can be done using distribution constraints. And what else I can use? Can you tell me? There is one more construct in SystemVerilog to do this. Other one is the RAND case. Okay. So let's see how we can do distribution constraints. Here I can even mix implication constraint also. So what is that I can do is, in my class Ethernet packet end class, I can write a constraints like constraint uh, packet type C. You can say packet type equal to small, the length inside some range, okay, 0 to 45. Let's say packet type is medium, length inside 46 to 1500, or let's say 1000 or 1300. Let's say large packet. Okay. So what is the example? What is this kind of constraint is basically whatever I have written now. What constraint is it? Is it a distribution constraint? Is it a? It's a implication constraint. Okay. Now, how can I use distribution constraint here? Is my requirement is to have small 5%, medium 30%, something like this, right? So constraint uh, packet distribution, okay, or constraint, something like this. So I can say packet type, okay, inside equal to, okay. How do we write this constraint? We write like this, right? Um, packet type um, small with weightage equal to 5, medium colon equal to 30, large colon equal to 65. Okay. Now the only thing is packet type equal to or something. One second, let me just confirm so that I can go. Distribution.
Use this keyword.
Yeah, dist. We have to use the keyword dist. Yeah. This kind of way. Colon equal to. Sorry. We will do that. Sakshi will come to the those questions. Basically, first we are just discussing through some of the theory questions. Don't think that whole constraint topic will be only discussing that. My point is, okay, I have just given you few things that we wanted to just discuss as part of this theory part. So you can go through the remaining things. What is uniqueness constraint, distribution constraints, those kind of theoretical questions. There are few more such theoretical questions. I don't want to spend all the remaining part of today's session only discussing theoretical questions. Rather, I want you to prepare these questions and get back to me with any doubts you may have. Okay. Now let's start off with some practical questions. See, practical questions, as I have said earlier, we have divided into 3 categories: the easy questions, the medium difficulty questions, okay, then we have got the little complex questions, difficult questions. Where is the difficult? Here, let's say. Okay. First, let's start with a few medium complex questions. because let's just set the flow for us to start going. Okay, can you do this question? Constraint for an array of 10 elements in which the 5 elements are in incrementing in nature, next 5 elements are in decrementing in nature. Can you write below? I have given the constraints. All elements are in the range of 50 to 100. All elements should be multiple of 5. Can you write that constraints, everyone? So please take 2 minutes and work on this example. Once you have tried it, I will do it and show you the thing.
This
Let me do it.
conference will now be recorded.
Let me try doing this one. Q63.sv. So as you know, anything we want to randomize like this array, it has to be put in a class only. Class sample end class. Since we want to randomize an array, let's declare rand int array 9 down to 0, because it has 10 elements, so no need of keeping a dynamic size, because we all know that it's 10 elements only. What is the requirement? First 5 elements are in increment nature, next 5 elements are decrement nature, and all elements. See, first let's use a and b. Let's write the constraint for a and b. Constraint range, array range, int a range constraint. Can you tell me what kind of constraint I should use here? Should I use implication? Should I use distributive? Should I use iterative? What kind of constraint I should use for this one, for both of them?
Additional.
I should use
Iterative.
for each of int a of I. Int a of I inside 50 to 100, and int a is what? Multiple of 5. How do you make sure that it's multiple of 5? When you divide with 5, remainder should be 0. That is, modulo of 5 should be 0. This takes care of a and b. Now comes the question: how do we ensure that the first 5 elements are incrementing nature, next 5 elements are decrementing in nature? See, the point is, this can be done in a lengthy manner, but is there any way we can do in a little more simplified manner? Let's try that once. Okay. Has anyone tried that first part of the question? Increment constraint. Okay, I think this is fine. We can write int a of 0 greater than int a of 1, int a of 2, int a of 3. I mean, right now I'm writing in a little lengthy manner, but let's check. I'm not sure whether this does compile. Let me just take this code as it is. Module top, let's write here. No, Swami, you cannot write like that. That kind of multiplication will not work. Let me take your code and show to everyone. This will not work. See, writing a range 10 in 10 column 20 into 5, this doesn't work. So it is wrong. Sample s equal to new. Let's write initial begin, end, s dot randomize, assert s dot randomize, okay, and the dollar display int a equal to percentage p s dot int a. So we are printing the array contents. There is a problem. Okay. 1590 it's generating, okay, but the second rule is not meeting. This rule is not meeting because ro is no, here it's not meeting because this is the 0th element, this is the first element, this is the second element. This rule is not satisfied. The okay, what if I write something like this? Int a of 1 is less than this one. Next is what? Incrementing in nature, right? 9 should be greater than 8. 8 should be greater than 7. Sorry. Uh, should be decrementing, right? Yeah. 8 should be less than 7. 7 should be less than 6. 6 should be less than 5. Let's check once. We'll try to see if we can come up with more efficient constraint writing, because this somehow doesn't look a good option, even though it may work, but it doesn't seem to be a right thing. It does work, but then see, here constraints are going from 60, 75 incrementing till here, then they are decrementing here 90, 85, 80, 65, 60. Okay, so yeah, that's what we can write like this. Let's improvise that. Now that we have at least got the result, let's try to improvise it. For each of same thing, let's take okay. How can we do? If I is less than 5, what are we doing? If I is less than 5, then it should a of I should be less than a of I plus 1, right? Next, else a of I plus 1 should be smaller than a of I, right? That's the same thing. Let's run it once. A of I plus 1 will be what? When we go to the ninth one, that's a problem, because 9 plus 1, 10 it will take. So else if I less than 8, we'll take less than or equal to 8. Let's take, okay, let's write these two. Because ninth one I don't want to take, because ninth means 9 plus 1 will be 10, and I don't have 10th index.
I plus 1 greater than.
Okay, I plus 1 is no, right? I plus 1 should be less than a of I, because it should keep decrementing as you go from 5th onwards.
Okay,
It should keep
yes.
decrementing.
Yes.
A has been not been declared. Okay, it's not a, it's int a, int array. int a, int a, int a, int a. Yeah, you can see it is working now. It is incrementing and it is decrementing from here on. So any questions on this? Please go through it. Let's go to the next question. We'll do one more question and go for a break. Yeah, let's take a little difficult question. Yeah, let's do this question. Can you do this question once? The question number 68. Do this
This
question.
conference will now be recorded.
Write a constraint to generate this sequence. What is the sequence you want to generate? 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, like that. Basically, every alternate number is 0. Other alternate numbers are incrementing from 1 to 9 and again taking the same series. Okay, so let's write this question. Let's do this question. Same example I'll take. Let's remove the constraints. Next, what is that I want to generate? Int a. What is temporary non-rand variable? Can you tell me? Non-rand is fine. What is meant by temporary? Swami, what is that you are referring to temporary there? As long as you are not constraining it, you can use it. That variable should not be constrained if it is non-random. For storing, you cannot use it. Let's work on this. Okay. So here, what we'll do is we'll declare one more variable called as static int a previous. What is the previous value of a? So all that we'll do is constraint one more thing called static int count. Count a underscore constraint a equal to a previous plus 1. If count modulo 2 is equal to 0, then you do this. Otherwise, if count modulo 2 is equal to 1, then a equal to 0. And we'll write function void post randomize n function to store a previous equal to a. We'll store the value of a into the a previous. Now, since it's a static variable and it's not random variable, Even if you randomize, these two variables will not change, and we'll increment the count equal to count plus 1. And because they are int, their default values will be 0 to start with. That's all. Now what I can do is, every time I can display a, let's say you want to generate repeat 50 times, begin end. A equal to percentage 0d s dot a. Let me run this, show you the pattern, then let me explain you everything. Okay. See, what is happening is it's generating 0101 kind of pattern, which is wrong, right? Int a is a previous. I'm storing a, count equal to count plus 1. With every time I'm incrementing the count. Can you go through the code and tell me where we are going wrong? Okay. Count 2 equal to 0, a equal to a previous plus 1, count 2 equal to 1, a equal to 0. Okay, got it. The mistake is not that, because every alternate time a becomes 0, that's the problem. Yeah. A underscore val 1 val a underscore 0, we can call it actually. Something like this. Or let it be a only. This assignment I will do only if count modulo 2 is equal to 0. Only then I will update a previous.
Yes.
Otherwise it was getting updated to 0 also. And one more thing I can do is, since I want in the same line to be printed, I can write dollar right. So 0d. Okay. Oh, percentage 0d. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, you see it. Okay, here there is one more problem. It is incrementing. Once it reaches 9, it should become 1, right? So something similar we can write here, begin end. If a is less than 9, then it's fine. Else a previous equal to 0. Less than 9 actually. So I will run and again explain this entire code. Yeah. You see, once it reaches 9, 1 0 2 0 3 0 4 0 9 0, again it starts with the pattern of 1 0 2 0, so on. Once it reaches 9 0 again, it starts the same pattern. So what are we doing here is two important concepts we need to remember. Like some of the one of the participant was asking, can we use a temp variable in the this one to store? So that is nothing but static variables which are not random. Okay, see, okay, 1 0, you can even do that. You can write 1 here, you can write 0 here. Okay, and yeah, 1 here. Yeah, that will generate that pattern. So it generates 0 1 0 2 kind of pattern starting from 0. Okay, so the important concept we need to remember here is that the variables, if you want to generate a pattern, like it is going from 1 2 3, so it is generating a number based on the previous number, right? It is generating number based on the previous number, so that previous number need to be stored. That we do in the pre-randomize. In the pre-randomize, we can remember the value of a that is generated. See, what we are doing is simple. If it is uh, even number, if it is only if it is odd number, we are updating a previous. Okay, if it is even, count is even, we are making it 0, because every even number, 0th number, second number, fourth number, they are all zeros. So that's what we are doing. If the count modulo 2 is 0, means count is a even number, then we are generating a equal to 0. Otherwise, we are incrementing the a with the previous value. The previous value is updated only when the count is odd. Okay. Please let me know if you want me to explain again. So the important concept is declaring static variables and updating them in the post randomize, and using those static variables in the constraints. So three concepts. The first concept is declare static variables to remember the values. Remember values so that they can be used in next randomized iteration. Next, update those values. Update static variables in post randomized function. Third, use these static variables in the constraints to generate the next set of values. Okay, so these are the guidelines you have to follow if you want to generate a pattern of variables. So we can do one more such question. Okay. Any questions we can take? Why can't we write constraint without using post randomization? See, Vaishak, there can be ways of doing it. Wait, why can't write constraint using post randomization? Question mistake. We can't write constraint without using post randomization. See, without post randomization, we can do. It's just that we have to remember the values outside. See, somewhere we have to remember the values. The point is what? Somewhere you need to remember the values. Now, if you don't do here, you declare these variables outside. See, declare these variables outside as a global variables. Okay. Then here you have to update those values. Those values, instead of post randomize, this logic, this code of this logic should go here, because somewhere you need to remember those values, right? So instead of doing in multiple places, we are just keeping everything inside the class only. That's the reason we are using post randomize. Vaishak, is it clear to you? Next. Yeah, Nikhil, what you did is also correct. Okay, like we know there are multiple ways of doing the same question. What you did is also correct, where you're writing a for each loop with a of I. Based on that I, you are deciding whether to give 0 or you want to give the incrementing values. That is also, your approach is also correct. Okay. Okay, can you do this question, everyone? Question number 85, can you do? Try
This
this one.
conference will now be recorded.
Okay. 85. Here, since there is no pattern, here since we don't have a pattern, there is no need to use the post randomize in this example. Okay, so since I have two arrays, let's write int a of 1 9 down to 0, int a of 2 9 down to 0, two arrays. So here I can write array underscore constraint. Okay, I can write for each int a1 of I, int a1 of I, uh, int a2, because we want second array, equal to int a1 of I plus 5. And if we want, we can even constraint, we can say int a1 of I inside a particular range. Let's say let it be from 0 to 100. Okay, so I can now print int a1 of a1 equal to percentage p int a1, sorry, dollar display int a2, int a2. So repeat is not required because it's only one time randomization, right? Repeat is not required in this case. I mean, you can see that it's happening basically. I mean, with every int a value, int a2 is plus 5, 98 plus 5, 79 plus 5 is 84, 24 plus 5 is 29. So this is happening. So these were about little medium difficulty questions. Similarly, we have got a few more questions towards the end, which we can take it up. Okay. Let's go for a short break, or otherwise, there are two things I can do. I can continue for another 15 minutes and end the session, or we go for a break and then we meet and continue. Are you okay continuing for another 15 minutes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's continue for another 15 minutes. Okay, let's do one difficult kind of question. Um, okay, can you try this question? I'm not sure. I'm just randomly picking some question 104. Can you try this question?
This
Constraint
conference
on
will now be
below
recorded.
two-dimensional array to have lower triangle matrix. Below entries except zeros can be random values between 1 to 1000. So how to do it? Okay. So basically, in any row, anything in this or below should be between 1 to 1000. So let's do this. Let's first declare an two-dimensional array. Okay, let's take a square kind of array. So question Q104 two-dimension array dot sv. Let me take again this question. Okay. Let's declare it as a q of q because size can be anything. Okay. First, let's write size on the q, int q of q, q of q. So let's write int q of q dot size is equal to, let's say, 4, for example, to start with. Then for each of int q of I, that is each q size, again let's keep each q size to be of I. This is a q, this size also should be 4. For now, let's do this, and let's write one more constraint array values, q values instead of array. Anything is fine. Q value constraint for each of int q of q I comma j. Int q of q I comma j inside 1 to 1000, let's say, or whatever, 1 to 1000 or 1 to 100. You can, let's right now keep 1 to 100. Let's print for each s dot this one begin end dollar display this one. Let's display it percentage p of I. Let's run it once. I will explain what I'm trying to do. I mean, this is not a complete answer. I'm just trying to see whether I'm able to first generate the random values for entire two-dimensional array. Okay. So this is generating the random values for entire array. Now what is that I need? What is the requirement? Wherever, if this is the row, okay, this is the column. I mean, sorry, these are the rows, these are the columns. Wherever row number. What is the row number for this? Let's take 0th row, column number 3, let's say. Okay. Row number is less than column number, it should be 0. Is that observation correct? So here if you take row number is same as column number, here row number is 2 less than column number, here row number is 1, column number is 2. Yeah, correct. Wherever I is less than j, wherever I is less than j. So if I is less than, greater than or equal to j, then it should be the case. Else int q of I comma j is equal to 0. What are we telling? If the I is the row, j is the column, right? In this. So if I is greater than or equal to j, that means the lower portion of the things, including the diagonal, that I'm telling should be between 1 to 100. Otherwise, it should be 0. Yeah, you can see that it's generating like this. Here upper 3 it is 2 and 1, so it is generating such kind of pattern. Now someone wanted to check how can we use random seed. Let's say if I give ntb random seed, will it generate the same pattern? Mm-hmm. 53, 55, 22, 40, let's say bottom most row. It is generating same thing. So here you have to pass different values basically. If I'm passing, let's see this one, what it generates next time. Yeah, so basically just declaring ntb random seed is not sufficient. You have to pass the random value, some different values you have to pass so that it generates a different pattern. Okay. So any questions so far? Okay. Let's just do one last question and then end the session. Okay. Can we do this question 108? Can you do 108 question?
This conference will now be recorded.
Let's do this question. Write a constraint to meet the following requirement. Dynamic array with 20 elements. 3 elements must be 5 at random positions. 5 elements must be 10 at random positions. 8 elements must be 15. So remaining 4 elements must be 20. So don't use distribution constraint as it will not meet this requirement. So how can we do easily this one? Three elements must be 5. Okay, let's see. 108. So you might be wondering how these questions are related to verification. See, many times they are not related to verification at all. I mean, whatever we generally do day-to-day work, you won't come across this kind of requirement. But you see, in interviews, they ask this kind of crazy questions. I mean, where they try to check, can you do little tricky questions? So that's the only purpose why we are doing. In your job, you may not really write this kind of constraints anytime. But anyway, 108 array dot sv. Okay. Same thing. Let me take. So here I want to constraint. What is that I want? Int array of, what is the size? 20 elements, is it? Array constraint. So what is that? Three element must be 5 at random positions. How can we make sure that 3 elements are there? Must be 5. Let's see, int a dot find find 5. This count should be equal to 3, let's say. Let me just do one simple exercise right now. For each of int a of I, int a of I inside 5, 10, 15, 20. For now I'm just writing this. Okay, how we have to do, we'll we will do the next count specific constraint later. Display now we want to now okay, int a of I for each of this one. Okay, it's not been declared yet. Why? Okay, it should be s dot int a. So it is generating some numbers. Only thing is, the only problem is now the count is the problem. So we have to see it is generating 10, 15, 5 and 20. That is anyway expected because that's how we wrote. Now the only question is 3 elements must be 5 in at random positions. So let me just write one thing. Let's write one int q. Let's say int q equal to int a dot find 5. Let's say, and let's display int q. Int a dot find. Okay, int a dot find should be s dot int a dot find. Find requires with class find. Okay, find, how do we write find with item equal to 5. Yeah.
Sir, inside find we have to write the condition.
Find inside, is it? Wait. No. Okay, find X. Okay, find item. No. I'm just getting this. I'm just checking. Can I use this constraint? Can I use that inside the constraint? I'm checking once. Okay, this should have been normal brackets. All I'm trying to do is instead of coming up with a pre-implemented answer, I'm just trying to do on the go. Okay. So that we can see the approach. What is the approaches we can follow to do this kind of questions? Instead of giving, I could always give you some question, some answer which I already have, but I'm just trying to solve the question in live session. See, that we can do, but that defeats the purpose of randomization, right? That defeats the purpose of randomization. I mean, then you don't need constraints at all. See, what you're telling is fill. See, what is the easiest way to do this question? I'll tell you. Option 1 dot sv. Easiest way will be this one. You use function void pre-randomize end function. In fact, you fill the values there. Somewhere you fill the values, then you shuffle that. But that doesn't really need constraints, right? It has nothing to do with the constraints. So let me see if I can somehow use this here. Can we use it here? This is the queue. If it is a queue, this size I want it to be int q equal to something like that. Int q equal to problem is I cannot write equal here. It won't work because the line number 9 has a problem. I cannot do this kind of assignment. Item has been not declared it. Okay. So let's see. Wait. Basically, this definitely is not an answer. My whole point was to find the items and then use that to decide the size. Okay, let's do one way. Okay, let's do this way. I think this may work for each. Uh, mm, if int a of I is equal to 5, then count 5 equal to no, count 5 equal to count 5 plus 1. The problem is it won't do that increment. um, I'm counting the number of fives.
Sir, int dot sum.
No, sum, how can you do?
Count the
Okay,
number of elements.
okay, you're
And
telling.
then
No, here you can do, but see what you're telling, I got it. You're telling 3 must be 5, that is 15.
yeah, no, I mean no, no number of
Yeah.
elements at the with the item equal to 5 should be 3.
Let's just try. Okay, yeah, you tell me. Sorry, please tell me.
Yeah, I actually put it in chat, sir.
Okay. Did it work for you?
I didn't simulate, sir. Actually, I just wrote it.
Okay, okay. Array sum with
Count the number of elements with the item
sum
5.
will do the sum, right? It will add the numbers, right?
No, I thought it is total number of elements.
No, five number of elements of 5 should be 3. Uh, I
Okay,
think it
okay.
is.
How about count method is also there, array dot count.
No, a dot count. How can you do? There's no count method, right? That
Oh,
that is where we are using this find method basically. If you ask me, this find method is for that one only. It is finding all numbers which are matching 5, that it is putting into queue. That is what I was trying to use here.
no, I think count is also there. So.
Now, one very random solution can be what possibly that might work. This total is 15. This total is 50. This total is 120. 15 into 8. This total is 80. So total is how much? 200, 265. Total it is 265. Int a of sum equal to 265.
No, so in that array dot sum, it won't add the elements. It'll if that item is equal to that particular value, it'll return true or false. Number of times that true
No,
happens.
sum will add the numbers, right? Sum will add the
No,
numbers.
no, but there it's not returning the numbers, sir. It'll return which is true or false. If item is found or not found. If it is found, it'll be one.
No,
If not,
find is what you're telling.
no,
Sum will
not
do.
find, not find,
Yeah.
sir. Item equal to that
Okay.
particular value. I put
So
it
what
in.
you're done, is it?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Okay. I think this is not doing it. This is not doing it because 5 I wanted 3 times. I think there are many ways it does this. It can achieve this. So hence this is not a right option. Let me run what your option you have provided. So 5 is 3 times, 10 is 1, 2, 3, 4 times. No, 10 is how many times? 5 times. Okay. Yeah, 20 is 2, 3, 4, 4 times. Yeah. Thank you for this. It works. Yeah. Let's check it once. Int a dot sum with item. So it is basically uh, counting the number of elements and it is adding that sum. Is it?
Yes.
Can you tell me the logic behind this?
If item is equal to 5, it will
Yeah.
return true, but it will be a binary value 1 or 0. So we are typecasting
Okay,
it.
okay, okay.
Wanted
So
to
basically, with this condition, when you do, it will either return 1 or 0.
yes,
Okay. So that you are adding for for each item. I mean, you are adding all meet this constraint, and that you are telling that the total sum should be equal to 3.
3. Yes.
So in summary, let's write as a separate constraint session notes. Your constraint is that basically you're doing int a dot sum, okay, with item equal to 5, uh, should be equal to 3 overall this thing, and you are putting this into int format. Even without this, will it work?
Yeah, it could work, sir. I'm not sure.
Okay. Let's try without.
It depends if that it is returning a binary value or like a integer value, I think.
Okay,
So to avoid any confusion, better to typecast it to int.
let's say. Okay, doesn't work. So it only requires int kind of return. Um, Maybe earlier it was returning a logical operator, looks like. Okay. Uh, Whereas now we are returning it as an integer, so it'll become integer addition. Whereas earlier it was returning logical true or false probably. So addition of all truths won't match to 3. I think that's where we have to put that static casting. Okay. So thank you for this. Any questions here, other participants? Okay. We will end the session here. So we'll try to have this kind of interactive session. So I'm not going to come prepared with every question. The whole idea is not to waste the session time. Idea is to find different ways of approach so that you can develop your own style of approach rather than me coming up with a known solution and just putting down that solution and explaining the lines. Let's try to do some questions from scratch. Okay. So any questions before we end the session? We will have Monish will have sessions on both weekdays and full week also. And again, it could depend on the number of enrollments also. If I have only one enrollment for weekend, so we'll ask them to attend weekdays. But otherwise, if we have some minimum number, we'll have both weekdays and full week batches.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sure. Any other questions? Which subject will be covered? You please refer to the initial part where I have told uh, all system Verilog keywords concepts will be covered. Every topic will be covered. The way we have done some of the constraint question, right? For example, tomorrow also we'll try to do some more questions on constraints. Then we'll move on to the next topics. I mean, we'll do few more questions here. Similarly, then we can move on to the other topics like object-oriented programming, functional coverage, arrays, various other topics we'll try to do. And today's video will be uploaded to YouTube. You can refer there.